Hey everybody, it's LA. I just wanted to come on because I'm sitting here in my backyard in the space where in a couple of weeks I will have a deck on the back of my house, and I'm super excited about that. But until that deck is put up, I am still super excited about my hammock that I bought last summer. And oh my gosh, it's just so important um, to get the things that you want, whether they be big or whether they be small. We only have one life to live, and you gotta do what you need to do to enjoy the time that you have here. And this hammock wasn't like super expensive. It actually was not. I was surprised that it didn't cost more than it did. Because sometimes you see stuff and you think, oh, that probably costs, some money. But you don't know what it costs until you look at it. And then most importantly, whatever the cost, if it's something that you want, um, you know, it becomes priceless. You can't put a cost, you can't put a price on your joy. And so I got this hammock last summer, and I spent a lot of time in this hammock. My in my front yard has a lot of trees. I mean, my backyard does too, but I get a lot of sun back here in my backyard. And on the days where it's not too hot, to lay back here out in the sun. Today is one of those days. I'm out here. And I kind of felt the same way when it comes to getting what you want and not talking about how much something costs. I mean, of course, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But, with a lot of things, we can prepare for things that are more on the expensive side. But I have a friend that, she's really big on budgeting and making good financial decisions and what have you. And so her overall advice to people, blanket advice to people is, drive used cars. If you got a car that doesn't have a car note, keep that car. And, I'm like, you have to take people's advice with a grain of salt, because if you want a car, if you can afford a car, if your credit is good enough to not have any astronomical interest rates and things of that nature, a car note is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if it's, got you robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you're not managing the finances right. But if you're a financially responsible person and can handle, the short term loan, for a car, get what you want, okay? Last year, I finally got myself a new car. I didn't buy a brand new car, but it was new for me. It was a 2018 Jeep. And prior to having this Jeep, I've spent the last 5 to 6 years driving a Ford Escape, an older model Ford Escape, because that's what my late husband had bought, and I was fine. I'm going to drive that vehicle, until it couldn't drive anymore. And it was almost to that point. However, when I got the opportunity to upgrade and get the car that I wanted to drive, my type of car that I like to drive, I'm a Jeep girl. So my husband knew I was a Jeep girl, but, he wasn't particular, like about brands and things of that nature, so he got, whatever car he wanted to get, that was fine, but when it became my choice to get the car that I wanted to get, I had no problem with, financing my 2018 Jeep Cherokee. And I feel so good when I'm driving my vehicle, and I don't regret it at all, so definitely my advice is, get the things that you want to get. You can't keep putting off, for next year, 5 years from now, whatever, because you're not guaranteed to even be here. So every day that I'm riding that car, I don't regret. I'm not even mad when I got to pay the car note. I got something that I could afford. And so that works for me. So find the things that work for you, and just make sure that whatever it is that you want that brings you some enjoyment, some peace, some excitement in your life, you gotta grab it. You got to grab it. Tomorrow's not promised. And I'm not saying that you have to we should not get the bulk of our joy, especially, just, you shouldn't get those things from material things. But the things that are material nature, it's okay that they bring us some joy. My total joy from my life does not rest in this hammock. It's not going to rest on that deck. It does not rest in the car that I drive or anything else of material value. Because when we had that house fire in 2017, I definitely learned, if I didn't already know it at that point, material things can go away. What's most important, is life, And so I'm just saying, some of the material things, it's okay to get those things if they add, some joy to your life. So that's just my tidbit. I'm just going to go back to enjoying this deck. The sun has come back out. It's kind of going in and out today. I'm only going to be back here, for another 10 minutes before I have to go off, to a couple of prom send-offs. One being my oldest nephew. I'm so happy about that. So that's, if anybody didn't tell you anything of value today to motivate you, I hope that my words do that. Take care.